Yes.
I have a question about Dynamind. I was working with someone today, and they were in such a panicked state, they were having trouble actually,
Of course.
doing the technique. What could have I done to...
Okay. All right. That's a good question. We're talking about Dynamind, which is a technique for healing, physical, emotional, mental, and circumstantial healing. And it does this by relieving tension, and it does this by changing the body and changing the mind. So for those who might not be fully aware of what Dynamind is, very simple technique though in the process. But to do the process, or even to help someone through the process, you got to be able to have their conscious attention, because it does involve the conscious mind. Which means if a person's in a state of panic, Dynamind's not really effective to have them do it for themselves. What you first got to do is something else to help get them out of that state of panic. Now, here there's another technique that's really good for that. Two that can be used. One very simple. In any way that you can, help get that person focused, their attention focused in the present moment, here and now. Because it's very, very rare that there's anything to panic about in the present moment. Panic states are almost always about the future or the past. So if you can get the person into the present, noticing something about the present, if you can hand them something and so that they can look in the detail of it, feel it, touch it, get their senses oriented in the present moment, the panic state will start to go down. When the panic state has gone sufficiently down so that they can talk coherently, then you could start the Dynamind process with them. Okay? So one of the primary and best is get their attention into the here and now. And anything that you can do that. Remember, it's sight, sound, touch, sometimes taste, smell. Get them here. And they'll start to calm down enough to be able to work with.
Okay. Breathing exercises, like concentrating on the breath.
So that's a good one, because concentrating on the breath is a sensory experience. And if you can say, okay, stop everything, just concentrate on your breathing. Tell me what it feels like. What color is it? Okay? You know, is it going down to your toes? Don't tell them it's going down to their toes, ask them if it is. And that'll bring their attention into their body. What am I feeling? What am I sensing? What's going on? See? So breathing is one good way. Anything which is sensory. Yeah. Okay. Yes?
Is that what you recommend for a phobia also?
Phobia?
Yeah, like when someone has a phobia of airplanes, he was in Oregon a lot when we visited
Right.
the airplane. And so...
for a phobia...
Dynamind at night.
Yeah, for a phobia, I'd recommend Dynamind highly.
He's doing Dynamind every night.
But how's he been doing it? See, what matters when you do Dynamind is what you're doing Dynamind for. Dynamind's only a process that makes use of the natural ways that the body acts. So when you say Dynamind doesn't work, there are situations where you can't use it because of panic, but Dynamind isn't something that works. Dynamind is something you do. And while there are situations where, let's say, it doesn't work very well, and you have to use something else, for phobias it's marvelous. But you got to be working on what's appropriate to change. If you just say, I have a phobia and that can change, or I'm afraid of airplanes and that can change, that's not going to work very well. Let's say we're doing an airplane phobia. With Dynamind, you want to be really specific as to where you sense the fear, under what conditions. So for example, if I were working with somebody, I'd start out and I'd say, all right, I want you to think of getting into a plane and going someplace. How do you feel? Very afraid. Where? People usually have to think, because they're not used to thinking of where they're feeling the fear, and yet there's always a physical location. Primarily it's in the chest, that's most common, but for some people it'll be in the stomach, for some people it's in the knees. You don't know until you ask. So then once they've identified not only the situation under which they're afraid, but where they feel the fear, now you can do Dynamind for that, piece at a time.